in lieu of having these rallies in these half-full mini stadiums, where he brags that he had a bigger crowd than whoever else was there, when indeed those people charge $200 a ticket and the place is still full, and his isn't even full, and yada yada. This is Trump at one of these GOP dinners. So he's been making the rounds of these things because they pay him to show up. They make a contribution, and that he'll give a speech there. And at the one in Iowa, he did his little 10-minute thing, and he was pissed that he's not going to do any more of those. He's only going to do the ones where they make him the man of the hour and let him give a speech. Now, he did another one, I think, this is Alabama. He did another one in South Carolina. He only goes to safe zones anyways. He doesn't give these speeches anywhere where he didn't win handily, and or thinks he will in the future, which is really pathetic. Most of what he's been doing these days has been either Florida or Texas, and that's it. And the only time he goes to New York anymore is to get arraigned. But this is him at this dinner. Who died? Who gave that? Oh, shut up. I got to turn that off because it's, whatever. Every time he yanks his jacket, he farts. Hello, boink. Hi. Oh, boy. Good to see you. Hello. There you go. I'm going to stand here while Look at the guy dressed up like Trump walking through the crowd. Got a Trump impersonator there. Dinner table's a little sparse. It's okay. Makes it look crowded. That's all right when you got big round tables in there. That's okay. Just shoot diagonally across it and uphill so it makes it look like a bigger crowd. There you go. All right. Hey, there you go, bud. Thumb up your butt. Hey. Yeah. Whenever he yanks his jacket, it's a power play and he farts. Hey, boink. Hey, poke, hello. Hey. Everybody's standing like this fucking song is the Star Spangled Banner. Okay. And I'm proud to be shoogie doogie doo. Yeah. Okay. Just stand here. They like seeing me stand here next to the thing. And I love how these people feel. They genuinely feel like a bunch of people just sat back down, which is good. Or never got up in the first place, I suppose. But do a lot of them feel just like obligated to stand when he enters the room? Jerk off. You guys can jerk off right in my right eyebrow. That's okay. Okay, almost done. Here we go. Oh, boy. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. He doesn't even know when the song ends. Thank you. Understand there. Let everybody see my nunt. You, hello, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, hello. I should have come out later. I have to poo already. Oh, dear. And I can't even hear the clapping when the song's that loud. Which is probably best because only like 9 people are clapping. And the song's over. And then they whoop and holler, and then I sit back down. It's Alabama. Well, it's great. Thank you. Thank you, Alabama.
Well, I want to thank you, and it's great to be back in Alabama with so many proud American patriots who stand for God, family, and country. That's what you stand for.
That's what you stand for. It says it right here in black and orange.
I want to thank Governor Kay Ivey for being with us tonight, and the great Kay. You look great, Kay.
You look great. The great Kay, who looks great and is great. Great, just great.
Not surprised?
I said it, and everybody thinks that I didn't mean it. But it's, what are you gonna do? Normally, you look like a
stink singer.
Right.
Doing a good job too. We appreciate it very much.
Not a great job, but then you're a female, I guess,
Thank
right?
You. And also, Chairman John Wall, he broke all sorts of records tonight. They broke the attendance and the fundraising records. They broke every record in the book. So, John, really good job. Please sit down. We're going to be here for a little while, right? Sit down. Thank you very much. But John's been a friend really from the beginning, and today I'm also...
The beginning? That's just another reminder he has no real friends.
Greatly honored to receive the endorsements of so many outstanding Alabama leaders. We have just about all of them that we were looking for.
We don't want the ones that don't. I've got 100% of the people I want, and none of the ones I do not want.
Warriors with me, and they know how we fight, and they know how to fight, and they know that
It says in the teleprompter, they know how to fight, but he threw the "we" in there, and then
we win. Most of whom, though, are with us tonight, including your great senator who just introduced me, Tommy Tuberville. What a great man. He's strong, he's smart, he's loyal.
unless you're in the military.
Then he's truly a fantastic guy, and he's my friend, and we love Tommy. Treat him good. Yeah, one of the really, thank you. We have one of the great ones there. Representatives Jerry Carl, Barry Moore, Mike Rogers.
These are, I love Alabama because all the names are really white and easy to say.
Robert Adderholt. Dale Strong and Gary Palmer. These are warriors. Gary's feeling better now. He had a little problem with the back. But
Jesus Christ. Shut up. It's nobody's fucking business, you creep.
he's feeling good, and he wanted to be here, and I appreciate it.
They wheeled him in here, and I was like, if you don't show up, I'm going to say you suck.
But these are fantastic people.
They are.
Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth. Thank you, Will, very much for being with us. Doing a great job. Agriculture Commissioner Rick Pate. Rick, thank you very much. Public Service Commission President Twinkle Kavanaugh. I love that name, Twinkle. Thank you very much.
Twinkle Kavanaugh. Welcome to Alabama.
Public Service Commissioners Jeremy.
Commissioners. I'm sorry. What was that again? Sorry.
Public Service Commission President Twinkle Kavanaugh. I love that name, Twinkle.
Oh, so good.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Public Service Commissioners Jeremy Oden.
Commissioners for shizzleness.
10,000 known or suspected gang members.
Something like that. Just basic commissions.
Chip Beaker. And I really appreciate you and being here. And Cliff Sims, thanks for doing a fantastic job, Cliff. I'd also like to recognize Alabama Secretary of State Wes Allen, who's here. Wes, thank you. Thank you, Wes. State Senator Gerald Allen. Senator, thank you very much. Friends of mine, Ambassador Lindy Blanchard and her great husband, John. Thank you very much. A wonderful job. A wonderful, wonderful job as ambassador.
We might have to check in on the names at the South Carolina one, but this might be the single reason why he's only doing these dinners now, is because he can be guaranteed there are no foreign-sounding names.
A man who's just been incredible. What a voice he's got, and what a wife he's got. His wife is named Kim, and his name is Lee Greenwood, and he sings that beautiful song. Where is Lee? Is Lee here? We got to see Lee. Thank you. What a voice. What a voice. We don't know what it is, Lee, but it works.
There's nothing special about it, but it works. What a functional voice you have there. What a where you just, where notes occur.
Love it. And congratulations. Great career and great family. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We appreciate your great family and your wife. Holy shit. I mean, come on.
Catherine Engelbrecht, a real incredible woman. Where's Catherine? And Greg Phillips, where are they? Truth to Vote.
It's true oh, fucking hell.
They have done a job.
It's true the vote. I don't even give a fuck. I hate those people. It's stupid. But at least get the name right.
They found more fake votes than any people, I think, in this country, and they are fake.
Yes, and the people in the villages in Florida are still pissed because they're having to go to jail.
With all of the things, and they have them on tape, and you go through a lot, and we appreciate it. And get ready. Get those votes ready. Just get...
You know where the fake votes are? You stacked them. We've got lots of them ready to go because we're going to need them next time. Get those fake votes ready for us. And if you can't beat them, join them.
Them ready. Keep those tapes handy.
What?
Because you're going to need them, and we're going to all need them as a country. Thank you very much. You do a
We're going to need the tapes ready as a country.
fantastic job. Real patriots. We appreciate it. 8 years ago this month, we held one of the very first rallies of the 2016 campaign right here in Alabama. Together, we launched the greatest political movement in the history of our country, and now with the help of Alabama patriots, oh, we love Alabama, won it by 45 points.
Yeah. It's you won it by the, interestingly enough, percentage-wise, by its position in education out of the 50 states. I'm kidding, they're 49.
But Alabama patriots like you, we're going to do it again, but we're going to do it even bigger and better than 2016. You know, I don't know if you know, we got a hell of a lot more votes in 2020 than we did in 2016. Millions and millions of more votes. But 2016 was very, very special. And
by the way, Biden doubled Hillary Clinton's lead in the popular vote as well. They just cleaned up in the Electoral College.
We taught people a lot, and they taught us a lot, frankly. But this state has been with us right from the beginning, Kay, I have to say, right from the beginning. And we will completely finish the job. We are going to do something that's going to be so incredible. On Election Day 2024, we're going to evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House.
Well, technically speaking, even if he lost, and he won't, he wouldn't leave until the 21st of 2025. So, but if you want to say that we evicted you in November of 2020, I'm fine with that.
We're going to expel the criminals and thugs from the halls of power in Washington, D.C. And
if any of them are left over from my administration anyway.
We are going to make America great again.
You know, make America great over and over. It's Magoo.
From the beginning of our movement, it's
our movement. It was such a movement. It's been the best movement ever.
Really been a true force in American politics that's dared to stand up. It's an incredible thing. We dared to stand up to the corrupt political establishment. That hasn't happened. That's why we have such difficulty, because they just can't stand us. But they're getting smaller and smaller.
All right, I don't know what that's just a run-on of gibberish.
Weaker and weaker, and we have to go on, and we have to win some battles. And I think you're seeing that we're winning a lot. We're going to have a tremendous election. The poll numbers are the highest we've ever had. And people are very upset out there, angry, upset. They don't like what's happening to our country, because our country is going to hell. Going to hell.
This is his new thing, by the way. For the record, his Christianity is completely fraudulent. And so the idea that he even brings up, he means hell as in like New York in the 70s. He doesn't have a spiritual connotation to that word at all. He just uses it because he knows these folks like it.
We said no to open borders, no to global.
Well, except for that whole Title 42 thing, which created more border crossings than any single act in the last 50 years.
Trade deals, no to endless wars, and no to the
well, you certainly didn't end the Afghanistan war. It's
godless values of the communist left. That's what
the godless values of the communist left. God wants these pussies grabbed.
They are. They skipped socialism. Remember, I used to say this will not be a socialist country, and I was right. They skipped that station. We always.
They skipped the station. Did they, using the old clicker, or did they turn the actual dial to go past that station, or was it a train? It was a. Hold on. Where's the?
No perverts.
Nope. Sorry, that's not going to actually. Because we had this one, yeah. I need to find this one area. I'll find it in a second. Okay, go ahead.
Put America first. In response, our enemies unleashed an army of rabid left-wing lawyers, corrupts,
corrupts, you know, because, you know.
I know words. I have the best words. Marxist prosecutors. These are dishonest people, bad people, deranged government agents and rogue intelligence officers to try and stop our
offices? The whole office is deranged?
Movement. Remember the 51 intelligence officials that lied about the laptop?
No, they didn't. What laptop would that be?
Said, oh, the laptop, Russia disinformation. No, they all lied. 51 of them lied. and it would have made a difference of about 11 points in the election, according to the pollsters. They lied. As an example, every one of these many fake charges filed against me by the corrupt Biden DOJ could have been filed 2.5 years ago. They didn't want to do it 2.5 years ago. They wanted to wait.
Until they had enough evidence to charge you. And they, in all fairness, in a couple of cases, they had to wait for you to actually commit the crimes. Because some of this shit is brand fucking new.
They did wait. They waited right to the middle of an election, and they...
No, you made it the middle because you started running early, because you got a target letter.
Waited until I became the dominant force in the polls, because we're dominating everybody, including Biden in the polls. Mm-hmm. And then they filed them all, every one of them, all at essentially one time, including local DAs and AGs and even other cases right in the middle of the campaign, where we're leading by so much, and it's not going to make any impact because every time they file an indictment, we go way up in the polls. We need one more indictment to close out this election. One more indictment.
Did you get a letter? You think he got a letter that says he's going to get one more? Or now he's going to say they're afraid to indict me because that'll just make me stronger, because he knows they pretty much wrapped up what cases they have for the time being.
And this election is closed out. Nobody has even a chance. We've already defeated the Republicans. They're at 2 and 3 and 1. You know, they all want me to go, onto the debate stage. And I say, well, if we're at 71 and they're at 0...
Yeah, that's not the numbers, but okay.
1, 2, 3. Some of them are at 4 or 5. I don't know. Does it really make a lot of sense? Does it really? I love to debate, but, you know, sometimes you don't want to be a fool. You want a smart president. You don't want a stupid president.
Right, which is why you don't have a shot.
But, you know, the radical left, what they say is, oh, we want Trump. That's only because we're leading in the polls. Because they're a party of disinformation, misinformation, a big party of disinformation. The person they don't want is Trump. We beat them by so much last time. We beat them with crooked Hillary. They've never recovered from that. That's why the hatred is so great. But remember this, if somebody else were leading this banner, they'd be attacked with false stories also.
No, not really. As a matter of fact, anybody but DeSantis, who's a complete pig and has just fucked up his own shot. Nobody's arguing that he's actually got a shot in any major way. Both of these dickheads who are the front runners, it speaks to who the Republican Party is these days. But if Chris Christie or Asa Hutchinson or John Kasich or any of these fuckers were running, they wouldn't just get hit just because they're the Republican running. It doesn't work like that. And none of them are accused even remotely. Even Mike Pence. Mike Pence had classified documents and he turned them over and he went through the same process that Biden did. So he's not going to get it. Even if they tried to attack him with this shit, it wouldn't work. This whole I'm being indicted, for you, they're really coming after you, I'm just getting in the way, all that kind of stuff. It's just another way for him to just dodge responsibility as a second-generation rich kid.
They'd be attacked with the Russia hoax.
No, they wouldn't, because none of them were fucking around with Russia for decades.
The fake dossiers and all of the crazy things that
No, they don't. They've run before, dumbass. There wasn't a dossier on anybody but you.
These people do. They're lunatics. And the question...
Oh, but a limited edition tumbler.
...is, I don't believe they'd be able to handle it because you got to be very different. I'm not going to...
Yeah, being a sociopath, I suppose, would help.
Go beyond that, but you got to be very different to be able to do what we did. In 4 years, we had one of the most successful administrations in history with a tax cut. They go beyond that, but you got to be very different to be able to do what we did. In 4 years, we had one of the most successful.
Yeah, excessful. That's a word.
I know words. I have the best words.
Excessful. I mean, that's in many ways, that's kind of the perfect word. He's not a success. He's an excess. That makes sense.
Administrations in history with the tax cuts and
yeah, Mitch McConnell got you that tax cut.
Rebuilding of our military, the greatest regulation cuts in history.
Okay, the second one's not even true, but the military stuff was bipartisan funding.
And we didn't get involved in any wars. We brought our people back home. We defeated ISIS.
What? I'm sorry. You didn't. Syria just didn't occur. And you didn't end Afghanistan.
All of the things that we did. The fact is that it's not fair, and it's
That's Tommy Tuberville,
probably
who's, by the way, holding up military appointments because of religious reasons.
not legal.
Which is, if anything violates the Constitution, it's that.
What they're doing. They want to interfere in my campaign. They want to interfere in the elections. A commonly used tactic in third world countries. That's where this tactic comes. Third world, fourth world, fifth world.
That's where it comes from. Yeah.
A ninth world country, not a third world country, a ninth world country.
This asshole doesn't even know what constitutes a third world country. He's just exaggerating to exaggerate.
Countries. And they're taking it to a level that our country's never seen. The fake charges put forth in their sham indictment are an outrageous criminalization of political speech. That's all it is. You make a statement, oh, we have to indict him because he said we were dishonest. Let's indict him.
Yeah, that's not why you're being indicted.
They're trying to make it.
That's like saying, I told this guy I would pay him to murder my wife. I didn't actually. He turned out to be an FBI agent. So he never took the money and they never went through with it. So really it was just, you're criminalizing me talking.
Illegal to question the results of a bad election. It was a very bad election.
No, everybody, you can question it all you fucking want. But if you engage in a violent insurrection or try to purposefully create one, then that's the crimey part.
Election, everybody knows that. But only a party that cheats in elections would try to make it illegal, because if you have nothing to hide, why would you do that? And why would you be afraid to have those results come out? Illegal, look, if you can't challenge a rigged election, or if you don't...
Yeah, you can challenge it. You have legal means to do that. Once you lose those legal challenges, then you shut the fuck up and run again, or you... move and grow your political power elsewhere. But it's the whole, like, knowing you lost and trying to use the levers of government to stay in power that's illegal.
Have borders, then in actuality, you really don't have a country. We don't have borders. Millions and millions of people are pouring through our borders like an open wound.
Ew. No, they're not.
Like a sieve.
Like a sieve. Well, you're the one who built the fucking slat fence.
We're not the ones trying to undermine American democracy. We are the ones fighting to save our democracy. We're fighting to save our democracy.
It says it right here in the teleprompter.
So this ridiculous indictment against us, it's not a legal case. It's an act of desperation by a failed and disgraced crooked Joe Biden and his radical left thugs to preserve their grip on power. They want to do anything they can to preserve it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, project much?
And we are in their way because we want to bring our country back. Our country has never been...
Well, it is, back to the 50s, I think.
So bad. I don't think it's ever been in this position so bad. And we have a very dangerous situation.
I mean, summer of 2020 was pretty fucked up.
Because we have other countries with nuclear weapons, and the weaponry is so powerful, and we have a man that he can't put together two sentences, and he's in charge of whether or not we have a nuclear war. And I don't...
No, not really. I mean, he's sort of in charge of responding to it. But if we have a nuclear war, that would be an act of Congress, I suppose, unless we're directly reacting to someone attacking us with nuclear weapons, in which case, by the way, most of it's automated, which you would know if you gave a fuck, I suppose. Anything in there? Hold on one second.
A lot of that sand is going to be loaded up with peace. I don't like that, and you don't like that either. Biden and his protectors know he cannot win this race any other way, so now they're trying something that hasn't been tried in this country, election interference. They rigged the presidential election of 2020.
From the outside.
We're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election of 2024.
Well, that's good, because they won't have to.
As the nation's top legal scholars have stated, the Biden
He means Alan Dershowitz.
administration's charges are illegal and constitutional travesty. Jonathan Turley, great guy,
Super smart. Yeah, Jonathan Turley. Been wrong about everything, but
highly respected, said this is a free speech killing indictment.
yeah, that's because he's a silly person.
Killing free speech, that's what it is. And
That's what they're going to do. They're going to kill free speech. It's going to...
they just explode.
That's right. That's what happens to...
I know words. I have the best words.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Referring to the deranged Jack Smith, he's not only going to have to just bulldoze through the First Amendment, he's going to have to bulldoze through a line of cases by the Supreme Court of the United States. In other words, this is an absolute case of prosecutorial misconduct. And
Well, if the Supreme Court's got it handled, then didn't you stack the Supreme Court? I think you're fine then.
Andy McCarthy, highly respected, said this: to indict on such a theory in a manner that quite willfully intrudes into a presidential election is worse than irresponsible.
Well, and we can't have someone who's irresponsible doing something. I mean, honestly,
I had to beat off.
That's not fair.
Here I am like an idiot.
Yeah, you don't want somebody like that in charge.
The editors at the National Review wrote, this Trump indictment should not stand. Should not stand.
That's what they wrote at the National Review, and normally they hate conservatives.
Terrible thing they're doing to our country.
Can you imagine if Joe Biden or Obama or or Bill Clinton had gone, as the writers at Mother Jones have said, like as a way of buttressing what they were saying? I mean, honestly, people would go to the fact that, as The Nation wrote, as Tom Hartman wrote in his third book, like everybody would go, get the file. Well, of course they think that, but he's like, as they wrote in, as the Heritage Foundation memo said.
The only civil rights that have been violated in this matter are my civil rights and those of the countless people that Biden and the communists have been persecuting. And they are communists. And
they're such communists.
They're Marxists, and they're people that don't get it.
Well, I guess, is that all one big mush, or do Marxists not get it, or do communist Marxists not get it? Is there a difference between communists and Marxists? Probably not.
They get it. They're vicious and they're smart,
but they don't get it, and they're Marxists. They're smart Marxists that don't get it, and they're vicious, but they're also they can't put two sentences together. So
we're smarter and we're tougher than they are, and we're going to take it back, and we have no choice, because otherwise we're not going to have a country left. The reason
we're not going to have a country left is not going to happen. We don't know. Don't believe me? Ask Roseanne.
And this is happening is simple. Joe Biden is the most incompetent and, at the same time, most corrupt president in the history of the United States.
It's amazing. He's so talented, that Joe Biden. He can be both a doddering old fool and a master criminal with the same brain. It's incredible.
The Biden crime family was taking in money from China, Ukraine, Russia, and so many other countries. And now every time,
and I'm jealous,
more Biden corruption is exposed, his henchmen indict me because they
don't want me selling the RSBN cleaning bundle for only $99. Made in America. You use the code RSBN for SoCar Chemical. And you get some sort of blue text on red background for orders over $150. And I know what you're thinking. What kind of an asshole puts blue text on a red background? I agree.
To knock out the bad publicity. You ever see? Whenever they have something big happening, they put another indictment or a special indictment.
A special indictment. A lot of them have to be special indictments because your followers wouldn't understand them unless they're read slowly.
It's called a cover-up. And what they do is illegal and horrible. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a truly great badge of honor, because I'm being indicted for you. Thanks a lot.
Jesus Christ. This is your fault. Thanks a lot. Like, he's starting to believe his own bullshit. Like, he really does think that he's just taking bullets for them. What a dick.
Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me. I consider it a truly great badge of honor because I'm being indicted for you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Here I am like an idiot.
He means it. He thinks that he hasn't done anything wrong, and he should be able to crime because that's what being president meant to him. And now because they don't like MAGA, these assholes at this dinner, they're fucking with him.
I appreciate that, Lee Greenwood.
Why the fuck is it? What the fuck? Lee Greenwood didn't keep classified documents in the shitter?
Never forget our enemies.
What? Again, why the fuck are you pointing out Lee Greenwood? The fuck did he do?
Want to.
He lets you use his song for free as long as you play it to the last note. That's the contract. That's why he stands around like a dickhead and he doesn't tell him to cut it off at different times. Because that was like, I'll let you use it for free and you won't have to pay me any sync rights, but you got to play the whole song all the way through.
Stop us because we are the ones and the only ones that are able to stop them. They want to take.
Yeah, you did a great job in 2020. You had your ass kicked apparently by people who weren't even in office.
Take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's very simple. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you.
Lee Greenwood.
In the end, they're not after me. They're after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never leave. I will never.
Here I am like an idiot.
Never let them do that.
I will never let them do that to me. But it's your fault.
And I promise you this, if you put me back in the White House, their reign will be over, and America will be a free nation once again. We're not a free nation.
No, I can't even talk. They took my microphone away. I'm not even allowed to put flags around me. I'm not even allowed to travel to the state of Alabama. They've stopped me from flying anywhere in America. We don't have any freedom. You guys even can't go out anymore. You're not allowed to go anywhere. You're all still in quarantine.
We don't have a free press. We have a corrupt press. They're corrupt.
They're corrupt, especially Fox.
Came out with a term many years ago, fake news. Now, I mean, honestly, it's just not a strong enough term. It's been a brilliant term, but it's not a strong enough. These are corrupt people. They don't want to even report. I mean, you have Biden got $10.2 million. You don't even read it in a newspaper. You don't see it on the news. They don't.
Well, because he didn't. I mean, that's the problem, is that they need evidence to actually put it in the paper. And that whole like trying to jumpstart shit and just letting the stink of something be enough, it isn't working.
I want to talk about it. These people are corrupt from the first day in office.
Because they won't air allegations without evidence. That's his definition of corruption.
I will appoint a special prosecutor to study each and every one of the many claims being brought forth by Congress concerning all of the crooked acts, including bribes from China and many other foreign countries that go into the coppers.
Into the coppers? Stop it right there, copper. Hey, copper, you. You mean coffers?
Forth by Congress concerning all of the crooked acts, including bribes from China and many other foreign countries that go into the coppers and go straight into the coffers of the...
Yeah, both, the copper and the coffers.
I know words. I have the best words. The Biden crime family. It is a crime family. He's a corrupt person. It's often said that
he's like double corrupt. I said corrupt again, so you know that it really means it.
That Republicans don't fight hard enough, and I agree with that. We need more fighters like Tommy and others. We have
yes, who will fight military appointments to guarantee the Marines don't have a leader for the first time in 100 years or
some good
plus.
Fighters, but we don't have enough of them. We have some bad ones too. But they never said that about Trump, and I think it's one of the reasons that you...
Who's they, motherfucker? Yes, they did.
Like me. It's one of the reasons that I like you, and it's one of the reasons I like Alabama, because you're fighters.
Yeah, you know what? One of the things they fight a lot, cancer clusters. But hey, tell them about deregulation again.
And you'll see that on the very first day of my presidency. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. In the most...
What are you gonna? What is it? Huh? If they're already buried, what are you gonna kill them again? What are you talking about? We know where the bodies are buried because we killed the people. And the deep state is anybody who might say where they are. What?
recent Rasmussen poll, we are up by 44 points with Trump at 57%, Ron DeSanctimonious at 13%, and the rest of them are very low. Even last week's New York Times poll has me up by 37 points. 37, that's a lot. What do you think, Kay? It's hard to blow a 37. We're going to be we will not.
You'll do it. Yeah, you'll manage to do it.
Not play prevent defense. Is that okay? They're the football players and the great people.
Sorry, what?
That's a lot. What do you think, Kay? It's hard to blow a 37. We're going to be we will not play prevent defense. Is that okay? They're the football players and the great people. And you are a great football state. We know all about prevent defense. You hold the team scoreless for almost 4 quarters. You just have to do it one more time. And the coach goes, prevent. Touchdown, touchdown. We don't play prevent.
Jesus Christ. I love sports ball. I have that breakdown again.
Me up by 37 points. 37, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
What do you think, Kay? It's hard to blow a 37. We're going to be we will not play prevent defense. Is that okay? They're the football players and the great people. And you are a great football state. We know all about prevent defense. You hold the team scoreless for almost 4 quarters. You just have to do it one more time. And the coach goes, prevent. Touchdown.
Is that hold on. Is that how the fucking coach does it? The coach goes, prevent. I don't even like sports. What kind of an asshole? Prevent. Oh, shit.
Defense. You hold the team scoreless for almost 4 quarters. You just have to do it one more time. And the coach goes, prevent. Touchdown, touchdown. We don't play prevent. We will fight, and we will fight hard, but we're...
Fucking hell. All right, sure. I mean, hey, he's going into like the real deep reads. I mean, in Alabama, maybe that's the way they talk about sports. It's hard to say. I think if he was on the field, people would yell something else.
No perverts.
Right, and then he'd have to leave. That's
a level that we've never been at. We have the highest poll numbers we've ever had, and that's because the people of our country are disgusted with what's happening. We're dominating crooked Joe Biden in the general election. The Harvard-Harris poll, not a good poll for me ever, has me way up and leading by 5, 6, and 7 points, with Trump up 18 points among independents. You know, you keep hearing about independents. How is he going to do with the independents? You know, independents like to have great walls, and
they do. That's true. They hate having leaky walls in their apartments.
Want to have, we built almost 500 miles of wall, and then we were going to build another 200. And we had Mexico come in and give us 28,000 soldiers free of charge. You know, they say, oh, did you charge Mexico? I told the president, we need 28,000 soldiers while the wall is being built. And he looked at me, he said, no, we cannot, 28,000.
Why does he have the same accent as your Chinese / Kim Jong-un leader?
He thought I was crazy. I said, no, you will give it. You will give it. We need 28,000 soldiers. And he said, well, you know what? You're going to have to make a presentation. I said, you send whoever you want. And I said that to his top representatives. We want them, and we want them fast. We want them by Monday morning, 28,000. They said, no, we will not do that. I said, yes, you will.
Okay, none of this happened.
You're going to do it. You're going to do it. And the State Department people thought that I was a little crazy. They said, this guy's asking for stuff. We've been after this for for many years, like stay in Mexico. I got that too. I said, give me to the State Department. A woman, very good, but she never won anything because Mexico would give her nothing. She worked on Mexico for 25 years. Good woman, but never got anything. I said, give me a top 10 list. Give me the list I want. And I see my great Mike Lindell. By the way, he's the single greatest advertiser in history. I don't know.
No, if that was true, he would still be on most of the channels.
What the hell? I don't know how much money you can make with pillows.
Not as much as you used to.
You know, if it was oil, I understand. I don't understand the pillow stuff, but I'll tell you, he's a true patriot. I see him sitting right there, and he loves it. How many rallies have you come to? Like 50 or 70 or something? But Mike is a great guy. Go buy
Yeah, it's not a good idea to bring up the fact that most of your people are free repeaters.
his pillows or his slippers or his towels, whatever the hell you want, just buy it. But they said to me, they said, no,
He does finance most of the channels Trump is
will
on,
not do-
including this one, including RSBN that's playing
do
this.
it. I said, yes, you will. Here's the story. We're going to put a tariff on your cars and all the other things you're selling into the United States of America, where you're making a fortune of 25%. That's billions and billions of dollars.
All of your cars. Anybody want to talk about the huge glut of Mexican cars in here? Where do you think those cars actually? What companies actually make those cars? What factories are actually in Mexico? That what companies would be hurt the most? Do you think it? Does this asshole think the El Camino is a Mexican car? The Camaro? Does he think the Chevrolet comes from France?
If you don't give us those soldiers, by Monday morning, I'm putting that tariff on and I'm signing it right now, right in front of you. Here it is. I'm signing it. I signed it. Sir, we'd like to have a 5-minute pause. May I make a phone call? So he went and called. I assumed the president of the country. Came back 5 minutes later. Now, he was saying, absolutely, we wouldn't give. Now he goes, sir, it would be our great honor to give you 28,000 soldiers to protect your border. We think that's very, and it would be our great honor to create a policy of stay in Mexico. You know, they used to stay in our country. That was the end of it. We wanted them to stay in Mexico.
Again, gibberish.
And we wanted them to come in maybe to our country after they've been checked out. So we had hundreds of thousands of people staying in Mexico, right on the other side of the wall that we built. And it worked out very well. We had a very good relationship, actually, with the president of Mexico. He's a socialist, but that you can't have everything, but we had a very good relationship. But we got everything. We got...
Yes, because the president of Mexico is allegedly a socialist. He's like, he's okay. But the head of China and North Korea, full-blown communists, but they're smart people. Smart, strong, top of their game. Yeah. Now, the president of Mexico, he's like mentally diminished because he's a socialist. But these guys who are full-on dictatorial communists are the good guys.
So many other things, literally with phone calls. You know the story in France where they were going to charge us 25%, they were going to charge us a tremendous amount for any company doing business in France. They were going to charge us a lot of money, these companies. I said, you can't do it. I gave it to my people. I said, tell them they can't do it. They came back a week later. Well, they won't listen to us. They're going to do it. It's almost too late. I think it's being passed. So I called up Emmanuel Macron. I said, Emmanuel, you're not going to charge 25% to our companies doing business in France. What the hell do they need France for anyway? You're not going to do it. He said, oh, Donald, it is too late. I'm sorry. I said, well, I'll tell you what's too late. On Monday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm putting a 100% tariff tax on your wine and champagne that comes into the United States. That takes place at 7 o'clock on Monday morning. This was a Friday. So you let me know within the next half hour what's going to happen, but we are putting a tax
Gibberish.
on, and I've just signed the bill, and it's going to go into an effect in 2 days. And he called me back about 2 minutes later. He said, Donald, we have decided not to put the 25% tax on. We have decided. Now, that's the good news. The bad news, as soon as Biden got in, they put all sorts of bad things in, and nobody...
Like what?
calls him. Do you think Biden calls him and says, by the way, you're not going to put that tax on? You think that happens? I don't think so.
Well, they haven't put the tax on, so maybe he did, if they were all set to do it. Why didn't they do it as soon as you left? Did you? Yeah, could it possibly be that you left out the part where you put on an illegal tariff first, and then the French responded to it, and then you were responding to theirs, and it was a tit for tat, and then you got caught up in the Chinese tariff war and you blew it off.
He doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
But he's a master criminal.
And in the big new premise poll, we're beating Biden by 5 points, with the sanctimonious losing to Biden 33-38. The sanctimonious is actually not doing a good job. You know, you wonder why I don't like him.
Yeah, I do, because apparently you know the best people and all this stuff, and you salvaged all these people, and then they fucking turn on you. Apparently, everybody, like, now he says that Mike Pence was losing horribly, and he was going to be kicked out of the governor's mansion until he was salvaged in your VP, and DeSantis was never going to be governor until you put him in there, and then they turn on you and become complete assholes. Like, why didn't you just let him flounder?
Because I got him elected. He was losing badly.
Right, so why did you help him? If you're a good judge of character, what has changed? Why would we assume that you will choose better people now?
He was down many, many points, I think like 38 or 40 or some ridiculous number. He actually talks about it in the old days. And he came to my
The old days. Back in my year in 2019.
office, tears in his eyes, saying,
Oh, God.
please, can I have your endorsement? I said, listen, you're so far down, to a man named Adam Putnam, who was the Secretary of Agriculture, which is a big deal in Florida. He was down by many, many, many points. Many points. It was over. I said, if I brought back George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, you don't have a chance. He said, sir.
Again, I don't know what that means. You just, if you raise two people from the dead, it's not going to affect the California gubernatorial race.
I'm telling you, if you endorse me, I'll win. So I remember that I saw him on television a couple of times talking about the impeachment hoax #1 and impeachment hoax #2, and fighting for me a little bit. He was no Jim Jordan. He was no, some of the great guys we have. But
Yeah, Jim Jordan and et cetera, et cetera. Also, how was the other guy? Maybe he should have. Maybe if the agricultural secretary of Florida had become the Republican nominee, the state would be you wouldn't have problems. Like Disney wouldn't be leaving. What the fuck?
he was fighting for me a little bit. Always on television. I said,
So you just picked him because he's an ass kisser. Great, okay.
and I didn't know Adam Putnam, unfortunately.
You didn't know him either. You didn't know either one of them. Why the fuck? Again, of two people, two unknown entities, instead of doing your due diligence and picking the guy who actually knows what the fuck he's doing, who's had a real job as the agricultural secretary, instead of picking him, you're like, I don't know. Both these guys are a coin flip, and the only thing that favors one side over the other is that this guy can't wait to gargle my balls.
For him. So I endorsed Ron DeSanctimonious, and he went like a rocket ship.
Oh, yeah, that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
And he took this massive lead immediately, like it took one night. And he went from being way, way down to being way, way up. He ended up winning the primary in a landslide a very short time later. But then he couldn't have won the general because he was running against the guy Gilliam. Remember the guy who was going to be the star of the Democrats? African-American man, a very handsome man. Turned out to be a crack addict, but we don't have to mention that. But he was the hottest.
Well, I don't know that he was an addict. I think it was just that he was caught doing drugs with a male hooker in a hotel room close to the election. I mean, people got to let off steam. We're not here to yuck anybody's yum, but I don't remember him being the, quote, star of, that Andrew Gillum. You guys remember that? Basically, the only reason that the Republican won was because of that?
Him and Stacey Abrams were the two hottest politicians in the Democrat Party. He was going to be the next president, they said. He's going to be the next. First, he's going to be governor. And DeSanctimonious comes up to me. I can't beat him. There's no way. I said, look, we'll do some rallies. Would you? Could you do 3? I said, 3 is a lot.
You live there.
They ended up doing 3 rallies for him, and they were big. They had thousands and thousands and thousands of people. You know about our rally. We had in Europe.
Yeah, they don't happen anymore. Sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously, glory days. Some little young girl's eyes, glory. Yeah.
Little area a little while ago.
Little Aryan what?
We had a rally, 68,000 people. We broke Elvis's record, right?
Elvis charged money.
So I did these rallies for him, and he ended up winning. He won. It was a big upset. He ended up winning. And then 3 years later, they said, are you going to run for president against the former president? And he's...
Oh, we've seen this part before. Like, he said it. No comment. That means he's running, son of a bitch,
said,
and disloyal.
I have no comment. He said, he has no comment. That means he's running. That son of a bitch, he's running. We're not going to take that. And I started hitting him, and he has been like, pshee. So,
Is that what happened? Chung, ping pong.
I had to beat off.
with those people, Lee Greenwood, when they ask, we have to do a song about this, I think, Lee, but when they ask me whether or not I like him, I'm not a big fan of his. You know?
Yeah, do a song called I'm Not a Big Fan of His.
Not a big fan. I like
Write a song called Not a Big Fan.
loyalty. You know, they told me that loyalty doesn't matter in politics. Some of my geniuses
Really?
right backstage right now. Sir, don't tell that story because loyalty doesn't matter in politics. I said,
Okay. They don't ask you to tell, like, loyalty does matter in politics. As a matter of fact, it was part of the reason why Joe Biden won was that people who trusted him and worked with him felt loyal to him. The problem is when this asshole talks about loyalty, it just sounds like mafia bullshit.
I think it does. It turned out that I was right because he has dropped like a rock and hopefully he'll stay there.
Agreed, because half of the party isn't going to vote for you, and the number. Well,
I think he will.
Mm-hmm.
They said, "What's the problem with him?" I said, "He's got no personality," which actually is true.
Honest to God, if you're a functional politician who's capable of actually understanding the legislative process, I don't care. I don't need you to have a winning personality. I don't need to be rallied by a president. I really don't. I mean, it's nice if they have leadership skills. It's great if they're a terrific orator. That's a plus. But it's not a requirement of the fucking job.
It's good. Kay,
and this asshole just wants to skate on personality.
Politics, you need a personality, right? We learned a long time ago you need little personality.
And which is good because he has little personality.
When asked who's the best to improve the economy, it's Trump at 54, DeSantis at about 11. Who's the best in New Hampshire? 55 to 11. In South Carolina, 59 to 12. In Nevada, 65 to 10. It's going to be tough to blow it, but I don't want to say it. Where's Wood? I need Wood.
Well, you should talk to what you call it? You should where is it? You should talk to Tucker
I like
Carlson.
Wood.
Right.
Deeper and longer.
I found Wood. Otherwise,
I had to beat off.
I'd walk off the stage to find a piece. I want to knock on wood because I don't like to talk this way.
I don't like to talk this way. I don't want to talk this way.
Piece of malware.
Mm-hmm.
I know words. I have the best words. All the rest are in very low numbers, very low single digits. But despite the...
You do realize it's not the election year yet.
Demented prosecution of our movement by our corrupt and highly partisan Department of Injustice and deranged...
Wait, did they have the menu up on the screen for a while or something? Is it time for the salad course?
Jack Smith, doesn't he look deranged? You see the picture with the purple robe? He's a deranged human being.
That's from his time at The Hague.
We're getting stronger by the day. Somebody said, you should treat him nicer. Maybe he'd be nice. Let me tell you, this guy is a lost soul. Bad guy. Don't get nicer. He's a deranged, sick person. Think of what we already achieved in this incredible 4 years. And we had to go through Russia. We had to go through the Mueller report, which after 2.5 years said no...
2.5 years?
I know words. I have the best words. Collusion, right? No collusion, it said, with Russia.
No, it didn't.
We had to go through all those phony FISA things that were signed so badly. We had to go through a
You could barely read the signatures. They were like
lot,
prescriptions.
all hoaxes and scams, and it's not
Everything's a hoax. Everything's a scam. Hey, man, you don't have to tell me I was there.
changed at all. And they're the ones that have to be investigated, and those elections have to be investigated because we have to have those honorable elections in our country. We delivered
We
the
totally
largest
do.
tax cuts and regulatory cuts in the history of America. And likewise, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world.
You
There's
did.
never been an economy like that. We achieved energy independence, and we're soon going to have
Well, that's
energy
'cause
dominance
everybody
for the
stopped
first
driving.
time in 78 years.
We got energy independence because there was plenty of gas and nobody was using it, man. You don't get credit for when people ain't going nowhere.
We appointed over 300 federal judges and 3 great Supreme Court justices, and look
And still it can't keep you out of jail. What's the fucking
what
point?
they just gave us with colleges. You actually, if you get good marks, you could actually get in. You don't have to take
Oh, I see. Yeah, because people of color don't get pushed to the front of the line no more.
second fiddle to somebody that didn't get good marks.
Second fiddle. That's what it is. From second-class citizen to second fiddle.
Last year, those justices ruled on a thing called Roe v. Wade. They ended it, and nobody thought that was possible.
No, everybody thought it was possible. Just everybody thought it was a shitty idea, and nobody would actually try that hard. You caught them with their pants, ironically, down.
And I have to tell you, from the
No, you don't.
Republican and conservative standpoint, you have to learn how to talk about pro-life. You have to learn how to talk about that decision because you don't know how to talk about it.
Yeah, you don't know how to let him tell you how to talk about
I
it.
know words. I have the best words.
He does. He's got the best words, like anonymous.
Anonymous, really anonymous.
That's right, like Obama.
Obama.
Yeah, but that's the important thing is the oranges.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges.
I agree.
Pro-lifers have a tremendous power now with that termination to negotiate. They had none. They didn't have any before that ruling. They had no power whatsoever. They could
Yeah, all the power was with women. Gross.
kill babies at any time they wanted, including after what we would call birth.
No. Look, I may not read very well, it's true. But I do know the definition of, like, the difference between abortion and murder very specifically. And if the baby has actually come out and, is starting school, for example, that's just murder. Nobody's calling that, I'll give you an example. If somebody gets tried and convicted of a capital crime, they are not, they don't call it capital abortion. See what I mean? Good Lord.
They could kill babies. Now they have tremendous power to negotiate because they don't have Roe v. Wade. This moves the issue.
Yes, and that was one of the hardest part was that women had all this negotiating strength, and we had to put a stop to that, didn't we?
Back to the states where all legal scholars felt it should be.
No, not all of them, because then you got, it ain't the United States if everybody's got different rights in different states.
Out of the federal government and back to the states. That's a big deal. On both sides, they felt it should be.
No, they didn't, though.
Now, like President Ronald Reagan,
If both sides felt that, then why would they keep asking SCOTUS people who were going to be on the Supreme Court, how come they'd ask them, like, whether they believed Roe v. Wade was settled law or something? If everybody already, if both of them thought there would be no litmus test.
before me, I support the 3 exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. And I will say that in terms
Man, that place went quiet all of a sudden.
of running, you have to go with your heart. You have to go with what you want. But the 3 exceptions to me are very important. And the 3 exceptions, I think, to a large portion of the people on this issue are very important.
Yeah, not that crowd in front of you, obviously, because you could hear a fucking pin fuck.
Very, very important. Remember, the Democrats are the radicals on this issue. And you have to remember that.
I'm trying to remember it, but honest to God, most of what you're saying is making me smell almonds.
Democrats, we're not the radicals on this issue. The Democrats are the radicals because
Why?
they're willing to kill babies in their 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th month and even after birth. Remember?
Okay, first of all, again, after birth is just murder. And if you're saying you are for the exception in the case of the life of the mother, that shit happens in the last 3 months. That's when that happens. Most of the time when you make a decision between the baby and the life of the mother, that happens in the last 3 months.
The governor of Virginia, that whack job who thought he was Michael Jackson, remember?
What?
They said, let's see you moonwalk, governor, and his wife saved him because he would have moonwalked and it wouldn't have been pretty. He was ready.
He was ready to moonwalk. That's just sad. I mean, if you're going to talk about an issue I think we can all get behind is that politicians should not moonwalk.
To do it. It would not have been good. But he
How do you know? You never got a chance to see him. Maybe he fucking would have killed it.
said, yes, the baby's born.
Can he clog dance though? Cause I fucking do like that. Can he do that? I don't think so.
And then we sit down and we talk to the mother and we decide whether or not we essentially terminate the baby's life. This is a baby born.
No, that ain't what he said at all. The baby ain't gonna live. It's like brain is outside its skull, its heart is outside its baby, it's born outside its chest. It's got like lungs where its feet should be and that shit. And the question is, do you go through the birth? And if you do you try to resuscitate it and keep it alive for some while, or do you just let it pass away of natural causes because it ain't going to survive?
They have that too. Numerous states that you can kill the baby after birth.
No state has that. Not a fucking one. What are you talking about? Not a one. None. Z fucking row.
So they're the extremists, not
No, first of all, who's they? You're these mythological motherfuckers you talking about. Who the fuck are you talking about?
us. You have to fight that issue differently.
Yeah, apparently your greatest tool is a complete disassociation from any kind of actual reality. You should fight it like you're the king of get the fuck out of here.
A lot of Republicans, a lot of House members, they weren't able to talk about the issue. They didn't know how. They didn't say that they were the radicals, that they were the extremists. They're the extremists. They didn't say that it gave us tremendous power to negotiate. And we now have that tremendous power. They have to.
The power you got is because women are just going to die now. If the exception ain't there, that your negotiating chip that you're talking about is that, hey man, if you don't let us control parts of it or set the limits on it, we just gonna let these ladies die. We can wait. We don't care. We believe the Lord wants, has a plan for everybody who just dies. So, fuck it.
Talk about it right, and it'll be your issue, not their issue. I fully rebuilt the U.S. military, created Space Force, and put the U.S. Space Command in Alabama, which Biden just moved the hell out of your state.
Oops. That sucks. Apparently you didn't put it there because it never actually got there. Also, Huntsville. How about Hal Sparks guy tell you the story about how they ended up with the Space Command in Huntsville for a while? Operation Paperclip. Look it up.
But maybe that's not going to be the end of that story.
It kind of is. It's already the end of the fucking story. Sorry. That's just truth.
We defeated ISIS and brought our troops back home. Yeah, we moved the whole thing into Alabama, and they just
You moved ISIS into Alabama?
announced they're going to take it out of your state. So you'll remember that.
You'll remember that. Use that against them.
I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. We got people out of wars. We defeated ISIS. We defeated 100% of the ISIS
You moved troops into Saudi Arabia.
caliphate. But all of that was only the beginning. Here's just some of the agenda that I will immediately implement when we become the 47th president of the United States.
When we do, yes. When we.
And it's we, not I.
Isn't it? Yeah, but we. You know, turn that me upside down.
I will totally obliterate the deep state. It's a sick, bad group of...
All right, what is that? I hear about this deep state shit all the time. You mean bureaucracy? We'll end bureaucracy in our time? Bullshit. I don't know about the rest of you, but I would like a functioning government that makes it through the transfer from president to president so we don't have to start from fucking scratch with strangers every goddamn time. It's almost bad enough that there's such a quick turnover in the cabinet positions.
People. I will say no to 87,000 IRS agents who want to take your money.
Didn't that already happen? Didn't they already supposedly cut the funding for that? And by the way, this rich guy from New York with tax problems saying he wants to get rid of 87,000 IRS agents, shouldn't that tell you something?
And destroy your lives. I will end the disaster known as Bidenomics, which shall henceforth be defined as inflation, submission, and failure.
Really? You just get inflation because that's an economic term. But submission and failure to what and how so?
We will turn around our economy very, very quickly.
Well, those are big empty spots in that floor, man. When everybody sits down, it doesn't look as exciting. That is a big fire lane. Is a bunch of heavy set folks, or is it? Yeah, I mean, I can't believe they give a shit about wheelchair access there. So
I will cancel every Biden regulation that's harming Alabama workers and workers all over the United States.
Like, for example?
One of the first things that I will do to help the great people of Alabama is to approve a 6-lane I-65 from Huntsville to Mobile. I heard Huntsville to Mobile, and I heard, some of you...
Okay, first of all, if that road is actually going to happen, they've already got infrastructure funding for it.
Your great congressman who I introduced...
You mean who introduced you?
I introduced your all of your congressmen, everyone have endorsed me. It's such an honor.
Oh, I introduced. I see. He fucked up the word. So they endorsed him. So he mixed that up and said, I introduced them. Fucking hell.
55 from Huntsville to Mobile. I heard Huntsville to Mobile, and I heard, some of your great congressmen who I introduced. All of your congressmen, everyone have endorsed me. It's such an honor. But I said, what can I do for this great state? You can make a 6-laner. Does everyone agree that's a big deal? Yeah? Okay,
whatever. I never really heard about it till I came up here, but you could make it our thing. Sure, why not? Pork, essentially. Why the fuck do they need a 6-lane highway in Alabama?
We'll get that done on the first day, okay?
No, you won't.
First day. I'll bring down the cost of energy and...
What? And again, what? All right, Alabama. Explain to me how the federal government making your 6-lane highway inside the state happen. Not an interstate highway, just inside your fucking state is now the taxpayer in the rest of the country's fucking problem. Whatever happened to this, like, spending money we don't have on roads and bridges to nowhere? Why the fuck? Why is that our business? Why does California and New York have to pay for Alabama's fucking, intrastate highway?
We will become energy independent and even energy dominant, just as we were 3 years ago.
One moment. You're watching House Parks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. That way, let me, okay. Let's see. This is kind of the paper on it. Hold on one second. I'm going to bring this up. This is sort of what he's referring to. This is Alabama lawmakers urge Alabama Department of Transportation to widen I-65. Apparently, it's a 3-laner on one side and a 2-laner on the other, or a 3-laner on one side and a 4-laner on the other, or some shit. There's nothing more frustrating than being caught in traffic. It's a story some of us know too well. Thanks to I-65 in Mobile, I-65 has 4 lanes, but when you get closer to Saraland, those lanes go down to 2, which can make traffic even worse. That's why Alabama lawmakers have passed a resolution asking ALDOT to do a study about widening I-65. Even Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth has spoken out about the headaches that I-65 causes motorists, saying the gridlock of the roadway hurts Alabama's economic development. I-65 does need to be looked at. I think it's inadequate for the traffic that it handles. In particular, the lawmakers passed a resolution asking ALDOT to do a study about widening it all the way from Tennessee to the Gulf Coast. I think that all we can do is the beginning stages, and that is to do a study on the traffic counts and feasibility of doing it, dealing with traffic patterns and the accidents and such. I took a social media about widening the highway last month. He says he's proposed expanding I-65 to 6 lanes because its gridlock hurts economic development. In a statement from ALDOT, Senator Greg Albrighton says he's in favor of ALDOT looking to widen the roads, also in favor of other expansions and developments that are needful, i.e. Mobile River Bridge. According to ALDOT spokesperson, they are currently working on the design and planning for widening I-65 from 4 lanes to 6 lanes through along I-65 from exit 13, which is State Route 158, to exit 15 in Saraland. They also plan to widen the I-65 bridges over the state road, like it's already fucking planned. Because these guys are, all right, that's what's happening. So Alabama is already planning, like the federal government is giving the Alabama Department of Transportation the funds to widen this, and they're already in the process. This is already happening. According to ALDOT spokesman, they are currently working on the design and planning for widening I-65 from 4 lanes to 6 lanes along the I-65 from exit 13, which is State Route 158, to exit 15 in Saraland. They also plan to widen the I-65 bridges over State Road 158, a 2-lane road, to a 3-lane road. Construction for that project will begin in the summer of 2024. That is from the infrastructure project. That is, and so what's going to happen is these assholes, including Trump, are going to make noise about this, and then the widening's going to start in next summer, and they're going to take credit for it. Because that's what assholes do. I can't drive 65, meaning literally that interstate. I want a bullet train from east to west coast. I would rather have just a high-speed rail. It does not have to be a bullet train. And I believe in junctions. Thank you, Kieran. Hi. Try cycling 50 miles. Not a bad idea. They're 2, they're 4, they're 6, they're 8. Shunting trucks and hauling freight. We built the Abraham Lincoln Bridge to handle northbound I-65. There you go. I call BS on 200 million, more like over $1 billion. You're absolutely right. But the idea is that 200 billion of Alabama funds is the theory. How can I buy a chip? No, you may not. I'm sorry. Forget about it. Check yourself.
We're going to supply all of the energy to Europe. Oil and gas. We were going to make so much money. Then we
What?
were going to start paying down debt. You ever look at the balance sheet of Saudi Arabia? We have more oil than they do. We have more oil than Russia has. I got Anwar approved. No president could get that done. Ronald
Well, you didn't actually.
Reagan tried.
As a matter of fact, you tried in your last year as a way to punch it through and use it as something you could get Republican votes on, and it was so unpopular that it contributed to one of the reasons why you lost.
They all tried. I got it done. The first thing that Biden did is he ended it. Anwar in Alaska, probably
Wasn't the first thing he did, but it was among the first things.
the largest site for oil anywhere in the world.
Yeah, so we'll save it. We don't need it.
I will reverse every one of Biden's globalist economic betrayals to once again put America first and put Alabama first. We're going to put Alabama first where it should be.
It's already first in cancer clusters from chemical plants and illiteracy. And I think they still pretty way they're close to the top in teenage pregnancy. Let me see. There's We got to check these things. Hold on one second. Let's see. Mm-hmm. 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 Let's see. Ranking. Let's see. Okay. And try to do okay. Ranking details and try to do this. There we go. Here you go. This is Alabama's overall rankings. They are 46th out of 50 in most things as far as like they're down here in this business with crime corrections. It's a business. Let me slide this over. Here's they rank 40th in crime and corrections, 33 in terms of economy, 44th in education, 20th in fiscal stability, because they're not going anywhere. It stays the same all the time. Healthcare, 44th. Infrastructure, 36th. This is out their position in terms of best to worst state. They're 47th in natural environment. Again, chemical plants, oil fields, blah, blah, blah. And 32nd in terms of opportunity. Crime and corrections. Let's see, their correctional outcomes, they're 38th. Public safety, 35. See full crime. Let's look at this. Let's see. New Hampshire's number 1 in crime and corrections. May be one of the smallest states, but it traditionally has played an outsized role in the nation's greatest task, election of the president. The Granite State was first in line for blah, blah. Okay, let me back up. Hold on. Maine and Vermont, 1, 2, 3. 4th is Massachusetts, Jersey, Rhode Island, Virginia, Connecticut, Idaho. Hawaii is number 10. There you go. New York. Oh, New York's 11th. Illinois 12th. Kentucky's 13th. Man, Kentucky's behind New York and Illinois in crime and corrections. Let's see. And Illinois is 36th in best states overall. New York is 20th. Kentucky is 39th in best states overall. And they're only 13 in crime and corrections, which means that everything else must just be ass. There we go. West Virginia and Washington State, number 2 in best states overall, 19 in crime and corrections. So if they get that straightened out, they're just kicking everybody's ass. Let's see. Fiscal stability. Long-term fiscal stability, they're 27th. Short-term fiscal stability, and they're number 9. There you go. As long as you don't stay long, you'll be fine. Government credit rate, balancing the budget, it's halfway there. Liquidity, 4.1, because the rest of the country pays for it. Education, higher education, they are 44th. Pre-K to 12, they're 43rd. Yeesh. Debt at graduation is $30,000, higher than the national average by about $1,000. Graduation rate is 90%. National is 86.5. There you go. And NAEP math scores are 264. They're 10 points lower than the rest of the country. And their natural environment, they're 11th in air and water quality, but they're 48th in pollution. Yikes. Tell us all how to live, Alabama. Shit.
And unlike Ron DeSanctimonious, who voted to gut Medicare, can you believe that? And also voted 3 times to decimate a thing called Social Security.
Social Security. It's very difficult to say. Sure. Why, say that again. What was it?
Who voted to gut Medicare, can you believe that? And also voted 3 times to decimate a thing called Social Security. Social.
There's 2 L's in there. I didn't know if you know that.
And also
one before the C.
So to raise the retirement age on Social Security all the way up to 70. I mean, you earned that. There are many other things we can cut. We can do a lot of things that you won't be feeling, but you can't play with Social Security and Medicare.
Now, according to your party, that's the only way to deal with it. But good luck.
Medicare. But we will always
also wait for them to start accusing Democrats of after they've stopped the Republicans from doing it.
Protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors. Not going to touch it. And you saw that because we didn't touch it.
Because we just let the tax cuts just happen. Yeah.
Before I even arrive at the Oval Office shortly after we win the presidency, because we are going to win it, I
Yeah, we. Now that I'm in trouble, it's we, it's us.
will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I know them both very well. They will settle. Would have never, ever happened. It will be done very, very quickly. I'm the
Yeah, because he'll give land to Russia, period.
only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent World War III. And
How? I thought we were on the brink. Weren't we on the precipice or the brink? Is anybody keeping track? Are we on the precipice, the brink, the edge, or in the middle, or veering very close to? Because it's a year and change.
don't kid yourself. We're a lot closer to it than you think. A lot closer. And that would be a war like no other, because we wouldn't have army tanks going back and forth shooting. They have nuclear. The levels of power are not to be believed.
Not to be, but you can't just say unbelievable all the time.
To stop the destruction of our wealth, I will impose a border tariff on all foreign-made goods. You want to sell
All foreign-made goods. That's how he's gonna pay off the debt he created, is he's gonna basically put it on all consumers. So anything you buy that was made overseas, but anywhere, is gonna, except for China, by the way, he's gonna give them special dispensation because he's gonna finish his trade deal with them and allow their shit to come through to help them rebuild. I mean, it'll be too late, and it's not gonna happen, but that's his plan.
You just want to sell into our country. You're going to have to pay for that. That's a great privilege that we do that. We get hurt so badly with trade. I made so many great trade deals, including with Japan and South Korea. And by the way, China, for our farmers and manufacturers, $50 billion a year. I don't even talk about that.
Well, yeah, because it cost us hundreds of thousands of dead.
Because of what they did with COVID.
Right. So you what do you think? They gave you a reach around with the deal, and while they were pegging you from behind with COVID?
I will also pass what we call the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. In other words, if China or any other country makes us pay a 100% or 200% tariff, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff of 100% or 200%, right?
Okay. How often does that happen? So, and does it start at 100%, or are we only, so we're only dealing in trade? Because that seems like a lot to start. You 20%, 10%? If they do that, they're fine, but they can get all the way up to 100% before we do anything? Is that how it works?
Back. And one of two things will happen. They'll end their tariff, which in most cases will happen, or we'll take it a lot of money, and so will they, but we'll take it a lot of money.
Yes. Both of us will what? Bleed our consumers dry on both sides of this trade thing?
Can you imagine? They charge
No, I can't, because that sounds fucking crazy.
us 100% tariffs and 200% tariffs, and for the same product, we charge them nothing. And we were all set to get that done and approved, and then COVID came in, and we had other things to do, but we're going to get that done. Reciprocal. It's got to be reciprocal.
Also, an economy that's fucking tiny, that we would dwarf, and this really applies to things like, this would, he's really bringing this up because of USMCA and because of NAFTA. And it's this idea that, like, dairy made in Wisconsin. There's enough dairy made in Wisconsin to completely overwhelm the Canadian dairy industry. Milk, cheese, and meat, we would fuck them out of existence, the whole country. And so they set tariffs fairly high so that their folks buy domestic beef and cheese and milk specifically, and some pork and other stuff, but from inside the country to keep their industry afloat, just in case we decide one day we're no longer going to produce that, or our, Trump's friends get a hold of our agriculture and sell off all the interest to foreign countries, and they decide to scuttle them to murder us all or something. And Canada has no choice, because they don't, they just have to die along with us, because they don't produce any dairy anymore. So to keep their dairy industry from just evaporating, they put a higher tariff on stuff coming in, on non-specialty items. So like if fucking cheddar, which everybody fucking makes, you buy Canadian cheddar because if you buy American cheddar when you're in Canada, there's like a 25% tariff on it. It's not any better. They just make a lot more of it so we could overwhelm them and sell it for a lot cheaper. So it evens the price out, quite frankly. It is, in some ways, reciprocal in that way because we make so much more of it, we could undercut their entire industry. That is reciprocal. But what he's saying is that if they put a 25% tariff on it, which would even out the price as far as volume and what we can produce in this country, we're going to put a 25% tariff on any of their dairy, specialty dairy coming in because we don't import anything on their side. And by the way, most of the time, cheddar for cheddar, let's just say, he could say, if they put a 100% tariff on us, we'll put a 100% tariff on them. Well, we don't get anything from them. We make enough of our own, we don't fucking need it. So most of the time when we're doing these kind of trades on bigger scales, it's for shit we don't make and shit they don't make. But in this particular case, which is where most of this happens, most of the time when there's a tariff of any measure, it's because we both have the same thing. We both have an internal country, like a production inside our country. Each one independently, we make our own equal amounts of, just milk, fucking milk, right? If you make milk in your country and they make and you don't want to sell it across the border, specifically here, it's leche coming across the southern border. They don't want their industries completely overwhelmed by us. And I guess vice versa. If they somehow made more fucking, I don't know, if there was a poutine push in the United States and people were making it down here and they just make way more of it. And they, we put a tariff on it to protect our poutine market. That they would, the idea that they would try to, because they make so much more of it, would try to overwhelm our tariff and equal it. It's just stupid. Like this, and ultimately what's going to happen? Ultimately, Canada's going to put a 50% tariff on cheddar cheese because if they don't, the cost of cheddar cheese from Wisconsin will totally undermine their ability to even produce any cheese. There'll be no profit in it. Nobody will do it anymore, and they're fucked. And we have so much leftover cheese because we overproduce that we could flood almost any market in North America. Anybody that we need to, that we can ship to, we can fucking out dairy them. But in this particular case, if they put a 25% tariff on that, and we put a 25% tariff on theirs coming in, we're not going to get any money because none of this is coming in. We've got enough. We're not going to. Nobody needs it coming from Canada. Nobody needs that milk or cheese coming from Canada. So that we're not going to take in any money in the tariff at all. It's just going to be a tariff on shit that doesn't exist. Fuck, this is dumb.
We will gain total independence from China, and I will hold the Chinese
We're already going to be there, dummy.
Communist Party accountable for unleashing the China virus.
How are you going to do that? What are you going to do? Nuke them? How do you even that scale? I'm dead serious. What's the standard? I'm going to hold them accountable? What do you mean? You're going to charge them $60 trillion? You're going to invade the fucking country? You're going to take some of their buildings? What are you going to do? Raid their steel factories or some shit?
Upon the world.
What are you going to do? Create a biological weapon and send it over there and not give them the antidote until it kills an equal number of people? What the fuck are you talking about?
It's estimated they can't pay it. Nobody can pay it. $60 trillion in damages and the death, the millions and millions of people all over the world, the damage they did. And I always said it came from the Wuhan lab, and it did. It came from the Wuhan lab. They said the other day, Trump was right about that one, too. Trump was right about everything, actually.
No, they didn't. And also, the argument was not, did it come from the Wuhan lab? The argument is, did it escape accidentally because they are collecting these things, or did they make it special and send it out? In which case, Trump, his argument is not that they had a version of this disease they got from a bat or a pangolin or some shit like that, and it escaped, and that's how it got out. His idea and his followers, when he says it came from the lab, meaning they made it in the fucking lab, he believes, and everybody around him believes, that it was created by people at the Wuhan lab. Okay, if that is the case, And it's been a while, so it's important to remind people because we have some new folks in here, and bless your heart for hanging in there. I'm going extra long tonight because I'm lonely. That if indeed the COVID-19 virus was created in a lab in Wuhan for the specific purpose of attacking the rest of the world, which according to Trump and RFK Jr. is the prevailing mythology on their side. It didn't accidentally escape. It wasn't naturally occurring. They made it and they released it, and that's what he believes. If that's the case, if you absolutely agree with his assessment, you go, Trump was right, and you think they sent it out on purpose, that means that Donald Trump was the president of the United States during the worst biological weapon attack in human history. It killed over 1 million people, and his response to the country that attacked us was to sell them the largest order of beef, pork, corn, and soybeans in American history, while Americans were on food lines. This guy was president when we were attacked with a bioweapon, according to him. And his response was to reward the people who did it. Maggots, I know some of you are in the chat room. Explain how that's cool. Explain how, and by the way, we've dealt with this a couple of times. He allowed gain of function research to continue after Obama had stopped it. He started it again as soon as he became president. His team, they okayed it. Anything that Obama did, he did the opposite because that was his decision-making acumen. And he just decided, fuck it. If Obama didn't like it, we like it. If they didn't like it, we like it. That's that. But then he later cut funding to the Wuhan lab for security. So if it got out on purpose, it was, obviously he was playing footsie with the people who murdered a bunch of Americans. But if it got out on accident, it's due to his specific policy. There is no win for this dumb motherfucker in this argument, and yet he keeps mentioning it. If it was on purpose, you cannot escape the fact that Donald Trump was president when it happened. And everything that happened is his responsibility. It was indeed war, and he lost it. He lost more Americans in the great bio war of 2020 than any president in history. Right? I mean, if what he's saying is true, if you follow his argument, that's the reality.
Will immediately terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration.
Oh, okay. So that'll be easy. There are none.
What's happening on our border
is, what are you upset that border crossings have dropped immensely since they turned off Title 42?
What's happening on our border is unthinkable. We had the safest border in the history of our country, and now.
Okay, no, you didn't. We had a contagion that was worse in our country than in the other neighboring countries. They were staying out to save their own lives.
We have the most unsafe border, I think, anywhere in the world. There's never been anything like it. No third world country would have a border like that. They'd fight people with sticks and stones if they had to.
Okay, by the way, third world countries, many of them don't have sticks and stones. They have Russian guns, actually, a good portion of them. And secondly, what he's arguing is that we should have mounted armed people on the wall that shoot people who approach. That's what he's talking about there. He's like, no third world country would put up with that. They would kill those people. They would shoot at them as they tried to cross. That's what he's advocating. Don't forget that.
Under Biden, other countries are emptying out their prisons, insane asylums, and mental institutions and
Yeah, but I mean, where else are you going to get campaign staff?
dumping everyone, including terrorists, into the United States of America. Many terrorists are coming in. Their prisons are emptying out all over the world, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we consider more or less neighbors.
So I got, how do they manage to do this? Now I get South America, but he's saying all over the world. So are there boatloads of of just like, do they categorize like all the armed robbers in one boat, all the rapists in one boat, serial killers in one boat? Obviously, one cannibal per boat. They get their own boat because, rations being what they are. And so they just come over because wouldn't they? I'm just saying.
Guatemala.
That's the thing. It's just these scary countries south of us.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Totally.
No, Guatemala's rough. Very small prison population. El Salvador, very small. Mexico, very small. They're emptying them out. There was a psychiatrist who's been at a certain South American country for many years running a big mental institution.
Okay, yeah. And his name is Dr. Nutso Brainiaco.
And they showed him sitting in the institution reading a newspaper, and they were interviewing him. He said, how are you doing? He said, I have nothing to do. We had many, many mental patients, people very, very sick, very ill. And they're no longer here. And the reporter said, where are they? They've all been brought into the United States of America. They've been dumped into the United States of America. How stupid are we? How stupid are we? And
did they walk, or was there a special bus, like a cuckoo bus? What was that? Anybody remember that movie with like Michael Keaton and Peter Boyle and Christopher Lloyd, where it was about the mental patients who went on it was like a little bus into town or whatever, and then they got loose. I'm blitzing on the name right now, but somebody's going to remember. I just know it because you guys are great that way. Dr. Juan Valdez, he was sitting there. The Dream Team, thank you. Yes, the Dream Team. And he's just basically talking about the plot to the Dream Team. And I love that movie, actually, and I got to go watch it again. It's been a long time.
they're emptying out those institutions, and they're emptying out all of their prisons and all of their jails, and they're coming in here.
Again, are they using cross-country skiing, or are they being dragged behind VW bugs? How do they get here from Guatemala? I mean, honestly, considering the problem we have with some of our own airline passengers, how are they managing to? Who sits in the exit row? I guess is my big question.
And we're going to get them out of this country fast. We're going to get them out so fast. It's a very bad situation. We're going to be paying a...
Yes, they're going to magically disappear the minute you're president because they're not here. So that was easy.
Price for that for a long time. Who could want that? Who could want it? Who could want it?
Well, apparently those countries, according to you, they want their mental patients and their psychotics and their dangerous criminals gone. My question is how does Mexico feel? Do they just walk through and they're just like, is there a loony road or?
All right, they're very stupid, which they're not. You can't cheat on elections like that and be stupid.
Agreed.
They're either very stupid or, in the alternative, they truly hate our country. And I believe they truly hate our country. When I'm back in the White House, following the Eisenhower model, we will use all necessary state, local, federal, and military resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. And we have no choice. Some people won't
start at Mar-a-Lago, I guess.
Like that. We have no choice. No country can bear this, and I believe the real number is $15 million. I looked, $15 million people. I looked.
Dollars, people. What's the difference? People are dollars. Dollars are people. Peoples are businesses. Corporations are dollars too.
The other day on television, 2 days ago, I saw thousands and thousands and thousands of people on Madison Avenue in New York. They are illegal immigrants. And I looked and I said, this city cannot survive like that.
What? What do you mean on Madison Avenue? What were they shopping at Tiffany's? What kind of? By the way, there are a bunch of people like Russians who've overstayed their visas in New York. They live in your fucking building.
But all of our cities are going through it. And even before that, the Democrats are doing such...
Then why are there jobs available? All
It's
right.
a bad job of running our cities. They're running them into the ground. The crime is setting records. We have numbers that are up 250 and 300% from just a few years ago.
From when no one was going outside?
The laws are being broken.
Well, I mean, you can't have criminals unless you have laws being broken. I mean, be fair.
Prosecutors go after Trump. Let's go after Trump. But if somebody murders somebody, they know they're there and they don't even bother picking them up.
Is that how it works? They just don't even, they've stopped. If they know where the murderer is, they don't even bother to go get him. How do you know that they're the murderer? What is it? Is there can you help us out with this? Because is there some trait about people where you can just look at them and go, that's the murderer? Is there something perhaps like that when you look at a crowd of people and you go, there's different people from different races and different groups, and you're like, that one looks like the murderer to me. Is there maybe you could teach that skill to everyone? Because, yeah.
Our country is sick.
Well, I mean, we're recovering, though. You made us sick, but we're getting better.
It's sick, and we have to change it, and we're going to change it fast.
We need to change America's diaper. Oh, God. We're sick. It's a stomach thing. But I'll manage.
Use Title 42 to end the child trafficking crisis by
Use Title 42 to end it. Title 42 contributed to it, you dumb son of a bitch. Title 42 was why we had the extra crossings. It's how they did it. They could bring kids over, drop them off, and even if they got caught, they just kick them back and they'd bring another one. They didn't intend to stay. If they're trafficking the children, they're just bringing them across, and then they fucking fuck off to what? Title 42 stopped that.
Turning all trafficked children to their families in their home countries immediately.
How? Cool. How? We're like instant DNA testing? What are you going to do?
And we will restore the Trump travel ban to keep radical Islamic terrorists out of our country, as I did with great success.
Yeah, because there's so many of them now, these days especially.
You saw that for 4 years. We had no problem. To stop the Marxist prosecutors.
Yeah, we did. We had internal shooters, quite frankly.
Who release rapists and murderers while persecuting Republicans, conservatives, and people of faith, and they do that.
They do. I do. I don't know any personally, but I've heard they exist.
I'll tell you, they're really after the Catholics. They are after the...
Are they? Then why did they let one become president?
Catholic Church. It's incredible. I don't know how many Catholics are in, but they are after the Catholic Church. They're after parents, school boards. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the Biden administration is just attacking school boards everywhere. They don't even exist anymore. People have to go. The PTA has gone completely underground.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist in reverse enforcement.
Racist in reverse. So not racist. Okay.
Of the law.
Racist in reverse of the law, meaning letting black people get away with crime. That's what he means. That's what everybody there is like. That's what he means.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other...
Do they have to have an actual transgender insanity class? Which sounds like Susan Powder teaching exercising, but dressed as a man.
Inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children's unbelievable.
Like MAGA? Because that, like, fuck Joe Biden t-shirts, so I think that's a little inappropriate.
Unbelievable. And my administration, and we did many of these things, many of these things were put back into effect because many of these things were done. My administration will strictly enforce this summer's Supreme Court decision to move our country forward with a merit-based system of education. Isn't that a nice system of education? Merit-based. Did you ever think you were going to see that?
Well, certainly not with somebody that was a legacy student at Wharton. You don't actually think you deserve to get in that fucking place, do you?
Supreme Court upheld merit-based. We didn't have merit-based.
Well, clearly not. I'm fairly certain you and your kids have degrees.
In addition, I will return power to the parents of our country, who
The parents of our country, Mom and Dad America. And by the way, when I look at the map of America, I just want to thank Mom America for going through with that birth, because the shape has just got to, that had to sting.
would have thought we would have ever had to say that. Can you
Especially as dumbly as we've said it.
imagine that? We will return power to parents. Of course you want to return the power, especially when it comes to schools. You will have your power back. I will close the Department of Education and move all education back to the states where it belongs. We were going to do that. We were ready.
We're so going to do it. We were this close to getting rid of the entire Department of Education, and then everyone told me not to, and I said, okay.
Then we had
Yeah, I was going to fuck something up, but my other fuck-ups got in the way.
the COVID. And think of it, we're at the bottom of every list. We spend more money per pupil, sometimes 2 and 3 times what other countries that are very top on the list spend. But we spend more money on education per pupil by far than any other country. And yet we're at the bottom of all the lists. It's terrible. So
Okay, first of all, no. Not uniformly. And a lot of the extra money that we spend is to make up for areas where the local tax dollars or the environment is such, Eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, those areas that aren't great on the intellectual scale, as it were, to make up for the lack of funding that happens in those areas. And there's obviously a bunch of other, like inner cities areas where the same problem exists, but we spend that extra money on those places. But our dollar per student expenditure on the average is not that different from every other country, and our reading and quality of education levels are on par with every other major industrialized country. We just have huge dips because of places like fucking Alabama.
we're going to move it back so that, Kay, you can handle it. Can you handle it? Are you okay with it?
No, she can't fucking handle it. They're 44th in the country. Of course she can't fucking handle it. She can't handle it with the federal support she gets, dipshit.
That good. Lieutenant Governor, you going to help her out a little bit? Yes.
Lieutenant Governor, whatever your name is.
Good. We're going to move it back to the states because in Alabama, you'll run a great system and the states will run.
What's holding them back now? What are they? Are they just getting too much money from the federal government?
A great system, and if they don't, those people won't be around very long. But
What? How is that okay? What? Wait, what? If if the states don't handle it, the kids will just be idiots, I guess. Super.
good. We're going to move it back to the states because in Alabama, you'll run a great system, and the states will run a great system. And if they don't, those people won't be around very long. But that's where it's going to be. The states are going to run education. By the way,
That's where it's going to be.
the government will save massive amounts of money,
By not funding education.
and the states will do a phenomenal job. Some states will do unbelievably. Some won't do as well.
You're in one of them. Some of them will do a shit job.
But it's more pinpointed, it's local, the parents are more involved, and it'll make the biggest difference. It'll be the
What? All right. First of all, what's stopping parents from being involved? What part of the Department of Education, has even, I don't know, is there a section on the Department of Education's website that says parents stop interfering in your kids' education? Stop reading with them and working with them. Stop. Where are they getting this shit? Also, when it comes to parental involvement, it's an option. Because, and I got news for you, I don't want to ever hear a fucking politician talk about how their success in dealing with the question of education has to do with the parents at all. Because some kids don't have parents, some kids are adopted, some kids have one parent and that parent's working and they can't possibly be involved, or they have a family that is split between two states and one parent's in another state and they share time and they go back and forth and shit like that, and they still do a great job, but there's no guarantee that they're there day after day during the actual school day because of divorce and all kinds of other things. So what fucking business is it of yours? The state should give the amount of resources and the functioning, educational system that makes the biggest impact on kids that it can possibly make. And then if parents want to be involved, they can be. But you can't legislate. You can't throw somebody's parents in jail for not reading with their kids after school. You can't do it. So what fucking business is it of yours? Because you can't do anything about the deficit there, and you can't force encouragement. So I don't want to fucking hear about it. I don't want to hear any politician ever say that parents need to be more involved. Because it's true, but it has nothing to do with your job as a politician. None. You have no control over it. There is no way to legislate it. There is no way for you to do anything about it. And all you want them to do is pick up the slack for what you're going to do. I hate that fucking argument.
Greatest thing ever to happen to education in the United States.
You do realize the United States is plural, right?
Local, the parents are more involved, and it'll make the biggest difference. It'll be the greatest thing ever to happen to education in the United States.
In the United States. Fucking hell. Okay, no it won't. And I got news for you, motherfucker. Before we had all this shit, before we had a Department of Education, states did individually. Small cities had that. And it was patchwork. There was no consistent quality of education across the entire country. And people who were in industrial areas automatically got a better education than people who were out in rural areas who were fucked and couldn't read. And so we established a standard that everybody had to live up to, and funding was based on it, so that every kid had a shot, even if their parents were in the wrong industry that everybody liked at the time, or like there was, a particular state thought it was important to be well-read than another. Fucking hell.
And I will keep men out of women's sports. That's the biggie.
For the record, he's done a great job of keeping himself out of sports in general. So if anybody can do it, he can.
That's a biggie.
That's a good.
You see some of the records that are being broken?
Oh, this shit again.
Weightlifting records are being shattered. Records that stood for 18 years are being shattered. It's a disgrace, and it's a very bad thing and very demeaning to women. We're going to end that.
And if anybody knows things about being demeaning to women, I'm an expert.
Immediately. I will sign a...
Did he just fart or choke?
Years are being shattered. It's a disgrace, and it's a very bad thing and very demeaning to women. We're going to end that immediately. I will sign a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. Now,
so circumcision illegal now. I'm serious. So if for the record, and I'm against circumcision, just for the record. I myself, TMI, am standard, but or automatic, I guess, technically, if you want to talk about the modification. But I am not for it, and I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it's a good thing, and I think I don't want that to happen anymore. Okay, but I would like to say for the record that this asshole doesn't think that's part of it. Yeah, it was standard to be circumcised when I was born. So I am standard, is my point. Yeah. Yep, fuck the Jewish religion, apparently. Well, that's part of it as well. That's absolutely what he's talking about. But circumcision will be illegal. Because he's not, you don't think they're actually going to spend any time writing this fucking bill, and then they're going to go, wait a minute, what?
think of that. Child sexual mutilation.
Yeah, circumcision. What? Hi, buddy. What are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? I need a snack. Hold on. My, Hi. Hi, Chip. What's going on, man? You good? Would you like, am I taking too long? I'm almost done. Hi, buddy. Yeah, this is what he does when he's trying to kill me. This is the whole thing. Hi, buddy. Hi. Where you going? What are you doing? Chippos. That's not food. He's like, I smell something here. Why is he? All right, he's like, I'm starving. Why won't? All right, I'm almost done. We're almost at the end of this, Chip. Just work with me, kiddo.
Imagine 15 years ago saying, we're going to stop child sexual mutilation.
Yes, you would have been talking about a moratorium on circumcision and female genital mutilation, and it would have been fine.
You even have to say a thing like that. It's not even believable.
Sure it is, because circumcision.
But we do, because we have a sick country, and in a way it's a sick world. And
it's a sick world, and I'm going to be president of the world.
We're going to stop it. We'll be the first. We're going to stop it. We're going to stop it cold.
Well, I hope you warm your hands up first.
I will also restore the Trump ban on transgender in the military. We had a ban.
Yes, you can fight for the freedom of people to be transgender, but not be one yourself. So, yeah.
We had a ban, and the ban was immediately lifted like 24 hours after this incompetent
Yeah, because you couldn't tell us why.
Fool got elected.
And again, is there something that doesn't allow trans people to actually fight in battle? I mean, you could make an argument in some cases, perhaps, that, some of the operations, some of the procedures that trans people have had to go through would make it difficult for them to do certain things. And there are limitations on physical disabilities in the military, but that doesn't mean you can't serve, entirely. It just keep you out of certain areas, of military service, but not overall. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's one of the reasons why they opened up the intelligence community to people, across the LGBT spectrum, is because that used to be the primary way they used to blackmail people. It's like, if you don't tell us the secrets of your country, we will tell them you're gay. And like, they know. Fuck.
Just as I did for 4 years, I will fully uphold the Second Amendment. Second Amendment, your gun.
Fully uphold the Second Amendment. Yes, because Biden's been attacking it this whole time. And remember when Obama took their guns? Remember when that happened?
Are going to be protected. And I will fully secure our elections. Our goal will be one.
Yeah, but how? If they're not secure, then how are you going to get elected? If you think you're going to...
Day voting with paper ballots and voter ID. Very simple. But until then, Republicans must compete. We must win. We have to compete and we have to win. But we're going to get back to the old system. France had 36 million votes fairly recently. They had an election. They had mail-in ballots for a long period of time, and they realized they were all rigged. It was all
No, they weren't.
rigged. So they went back to paper ballots.
No, they didn't. France didn't have any rigged fucking elections. And secondly, the paper ballots that they have, everybody just writes in them, but then they get scanned and they're counted via computer. What the fuck they have a copy of it? So do we. This motherfucker has no idea how anything works.
36 million votes. It was all over by 10 o'clock in the evening. They had a winner. They had a loser.
No, they didn't.
Everybody went home, and a lot of people were happy, and a lot of people weren't, but there was no protest. There was no anything.
Yeah, that's the great thing about France. There's no protests lately.
They felt there was a fair election, and they feel very happy with what they did.
Yeah, France is very happy these days. Like almost every, I mean, it's gay Paris again.
This is what we must do to restore our country to greatness. The USA is a mess. Our economy is crashing. Inflation is...
No, it isn't.
Out of control.
No, it's actually under control.
China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea have formed together as a menacing and destructive coalition.
What is the Axel Alliance? If it's not the Axis?
A truly destructive and dangerous coalition. Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard based on what's happening right now.
No, based on what's happening right now, that's not anywhere close to true. Anywhere.
And that'll be the greatest defeat for our country in 200 years if we lose the world standard on currency.
The world's standard on currency.
It won't happen with me, not even a little bit of a chance, just
Not even a little bit of a
like
chance.
Russia would never have invaded Ukraine, and China would not be even thinking about going into Taiwan, not even
Okay, first of all, they've been thinking about going into Taiwan since Taiwan became Taiwan, you dumb son of a bitch.
thinking about it. And I would talk to President Xi, and I would
Oh, dear. And he had the same accent as the ambassador to Mexico, interestingly
talk
enough.
to President Putin. Zero chance. They knew you can't do that. And we would have left Afghanistan with dignity and strength instead of our greatest embarrassment and all.
No, we wouldn't have left at all. You've already said so. We would have stayed in Bagram if this motherfucker says we're going to keep Bagram.
Leaving behind $85 billion worth of the best, most beautiful military equipment that I bought.
No, you didn't. That's the entire time we were there. What wasn't blown up was shredded or taken home.
The best equipment, 13 dead soldiers, many horrifically wounded. American citizens are still there. Nobody
Only the ones with dual citizenship who are in the opium trade, but
even knows what's happening with them.
I'm pretty sure they're in the opium trade.
If you took the 5 worst presidents in the history of the United States
None of them would have hair as awful as his.
and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as crooked Joe Biden
Well, yeah, because he hasn't done any destruction. That's easy.
and the Biden administration have done. He's a crooked guy. Crooked guy. You know, I never hit him this hard. If you followed me, and many of you have.
What the fuck are you talking about? You were afraid to in most cases.
I never hit him that hard because I had to respect the office of the
Horse shit.
president, the office of the presidency.
Both.
And I did. I had great respect. So I'd talk as a politician would talk about something.
Yeah, politician. Yeah, that's how politicians talk.
I know words. I have the best words.
Politician?
Because I had to respect the office of the president, the office of the presidency. And I did. I had great respect. So I'd talk as a politician would talk about somebody, but I
Yeah, politician.
never hit him this hard. But when they indicted their political opponent,
They didn't. You got indicted for being a criminal. They didn't give a fuck. You, technically speaking, when you were committing these crimes, you were long gone from the White House, and I mean, everybody assumed you'd probably run again if you got half the chance. But
and they did that. I said, now
Thanks,
the
Treva.
gloves are off. He is a crooked, incompetent
yeah, I'm sure he appreciated the reprieve.
thief. And he shouldn't be allowed to be.
Sorry, he's a what?
And they did that. I said, now the gloves are off. He is a crooked, incompetent thief.
A crooked, incompetent thief. I don't know if he's incompetent. How did he kick your ass? Really, you basically that's saying like that guy is the worst pickpocket in the world. Come back with my wallet. What does that make you?
And he shouldn't be allowed to be the president.
Too late.
And the Republicans better get tough, and they better get smart.
Well, no. Tough. You just go for tough, because if they get smart, they'll replace you.
Because most of them look like a bunch of weak jerks right now.
Easy, big guy. The gloves are off. Weak jerks. Ouch. Oh, that's harsh. Come on. There's children present, or at least people who have the intellectual capacity of children.
And the Republicans better get tough, and they better get smart. Because most of them look like a bunch of weak jerks right now. And you got to get tough and smart.
And not be a weak jerk, whatever you do.
Just looking around here, I can tell you're a genuinely dirty person.
And you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on.
Yeah, okay. Then then let's see. You have to somehow find a way to trick Joe Biden as president into putting classified documents in a public toilet. Shit, I don't know. That's going to be tough.
So I spoke much differently prior to that happening. And when
I spoke much differently. Shit.
and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on.
By the way, if you ever confronted in a circumstance where there's a fire, I wouldn't fight fire with fire. I would fight it with water, or in the case of a grease fire, sand, or maybe a halon extinguisher if you have one. I would not recommend that if there is a fire, you add more fire. I think most of the time that's a mistake.
So I spoke much differently prior to that happening. And
I spoke much differently prior to that
I
happening.
know words. I have the best words.
Fuck.
when it actually first happened, I said, no, I don't believe that. That can't be, especially these bogus charges, Presidential Records Act. I come
He's just like, this is some of the softest whining he's ever done. Oh, I don't even know if I want to do that. I'm trying to, in general, I don't think this is bad. You know, I was like, I'm not going to do anything, but I guess you're going to have to do something.
under the Presidential Records
It
Act.
was just, something like it's you deal with. I didn't think I'd have to deal with something like this. Anyways, sorry, where was I? Does the third combo come with fries or just onion rings?
And then challenging an election.
I just picture this motherfucker like working in a drive-through, talking like this on a microphone.
I mean, if you challenge an election, Hillary Clinton has been challenging, even though at 3 o'clock in the morning she said, you won. But then she went back to challenging it to this day. Stacey Abrams
Yeah, no. You can call out shit from it. That's not the issue.
challenges it.
The issue is not saying that there were issues with it, or people were denied the right to vote, or you did everything you could to keep people from voting. That's not the problem. She still accepted it. She didn't try to do anything illegal. That's the great thing about America. You can shit talk stuff all you want. It's your whole fucking career, dumbass. It's when you try to use the levers of power illegally. That's what got you in trouble.
Many congressmen have challenged it over the years. Many senators have challenged.
Yeah, but they did it within the law. And then after they lost, they stopped. Who gives a fuck? Again, you have the right to shit talk these things. The difference is when you organize a conspiracy behind the scenes to carry out an illegal gathering of electors.
It. If you take a look at the West Coast, Hollywood has challenged it, but I think most of them.
Hollywood has? What are you going to have you're going to take a shot at Roots now?
Voted for Trump. You know, a lot of them will say, this Trump. And then they say, you know, if I vote for him, I'm going to pay about 1/3 the taxes. I think I'm going to vote for Trump, but let's not talk about it. We did actually very well in Beverly Hills. Sort of amazing.
Okay, no, you didn't. And secondly, there are a bunch of rich foreigners in Beverly Hills that I would just say don't have Hollywood values, let's just say.
But we are a failing
in a bad way.
nation. We are a nation in decline.
No, actually, technically we're not.
And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by
by telling people who you are?
using law enforcement, the DO.
Well, I mean, if they use law enforcement and they're wrong, it will help you. You'll have your day in court. You can run for office from prison. People might view you as the Nelson Mandela if he was orange and stupid.
OJ and the FBI. It's totally corrupt, and we can't let it happen to our country. 2024 is our final battle. It's our final and biggest battle ever.
It is. It's just like, is it just me, or is he winding down? Like, he seems like he's fucking over it. This is like the quietest I've ever seen him do one of these stupid, like the bigger group, like room speeches, right? Yeah, he's running out of steam, right? It's not just me. This seems like oddly quiet, like he's on a fade.
With you at my side, we will demolish that horrible deep state. We will expel the warmongers, the fools from our government.
That's just going to take some work. Because you can't. It's hard to throw yourself.
We will drive out the globalists, and we will cast out the communists, Marxists, fascists.
Like he's not even getting the whole words
and
out.
throw off the sick political class that hates our country, absolutely hates our country.
They hate it. They hate our country. They don't. Why don't they like our country? There's this part where it sounds like this reminds me of where it's not this one.
I values.
There was a period where he was like where is it? Yeah, like ass force.
First new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the ass force.
Yeah, not since the ass force.
We will rout the fake news media. We will defeat crooked Joe Biden, and we will drain the swamp once and for all. We will.
You had 4 fucking years. What? How many months after the first 6? Do you just go, oh fuck, oh that's the guy. There's the swampy people. I'm not bringing anybody in that's been in office before. That'd be a good start. If you want to drain the swamp, if that's what you're fucking running on, the first thing you would do is, I'm not bringing anybody in who's been in another administration, and I'm not bringing anybody in who's held that position before. Or was the undersecretary for the secretary job that they're going to do. I'm not going to do it, because that's how the swamp gets built. People just, they get these bureaucrats and they work their way up through the chain, and it doesn't matter who's elected, and they just keep doing it, right? Wouldn't that be the first fucking thing you do? I don't know. He was president for 4 fucking years. What would be your chat room audience? What would be your learning curve if you were president of the United States of America for 4 fucking years? How long would it take you to get the kind of hang of it? I'm dead serious. 6 months, 8 months. What? I'll give you a fucking year and a half. Easy Network says a year. 2 weeks, right? Well, no, not all of us can be as smart as the Paperboy and Better Off Dead. 24 hours, right? A year max, right? And I mean normalization of it, like where you're just like, okay, I got this really figured out, really dialed in. Because I'm telling you, like 90 days, I'd have a lock on a system for myself, and then I would start expanding that outward, in 6-week increments during the entirety of my presidency, so that by the time we got a year out from, hi buddy, by the time we got a year out from the midterms, for example, I'd be like on all fucking cylinders, right? You'd be
Get that done, and it'll go quickly.
No, it won't, motherfucker. If it could go quickly, it would have gone quickly. You were president for 4 goddamn years, and you didn't figure it out. And if you're like, it would go quickly, then what stopped you the last 6 months? I don't give a fuck if COVID was happening. Again, COVID was one of those things where that could have gotten us out of Afghanistan alone. I'm dead serious. If Biden or Obama was president when COVID had hit, we'd be out of Afghanistan like the day the lockdown happened. Sorry, we got to get all our trainers and everybody out there. Okay, guys, we're packing shit up. The embassy staff, we're going to go down to a skeleton staff. Everybody's going, but just wink, nod, don't say anything. And we're getting everybody the fuck out. We're going to get out because we'll be back. Don't worry, but we're getting the fuck out. We're going to because it's COVID and everybody's got to stay indoors and we can't do that. We can't really even, our advisors can't advise and our contractors can't contract and our army people have got, it's dangerous. So we're just bringing them back and they'll be here. We'll have air support and drones and shit like that. If you have a problem, just give us a call. But we're getting everybody the fuck out because there's a giant pandemic. And you guys, we got more cases than you do. We don't want to give you that shit. So we're going to, hey, everybody, yeah, just, okay, this way, everybody. And then they're going to look up and like, fuck, these guys are gone. Okay, by the way, let me show you something, if I may. Chip is just on top of the camera. Chip, what are you doing? You're blocking the camera entirely. Your fur looks fantastic. Psst, what are you doing? You're going to turn around and put your butt right in the camera, aren't you? Hi, buddy. There he is. He was literally just like looking at the camera. He was all up on it. Like, what is this thing? Is it on? And he's like, look at this, though. He's like pointed towards the door. Because he's like, the food is that way. The food is upstairs. He's like, normally by 5 o'clock, you're done with this horse shit. I'm almost done, buddy. I promise. Here we go.
The great silent majority is rising like never before.
Why? What? Okay. There is no such thing as a Trump silent majority. These motherfuckers are loud. And again, I don't give a fuck how many Trump flags you have on your goddamn truck. You get one vote, and so do I. That's how this shit works. I don't care how many MAGA hats you got. You buy all the merch you fucking want. He doesn't get points in popularity because of the amount of fucking merch you buy. Because it always and only boils down to one person, one fucking vote. That's why they think they're like, it can't be that there's 6 Trump hats in my house. I live alone, but that should be 6 votes for Trump. You've only got one head, one hat, dumb fuck. And your vote, unless you actually show up and actually vote on time, I don't give a shit what hat you're wearing.
And under our leadership, the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer. And I said that in 2016.
And I did nothing for them. I basically, did you guys forget that I used to be a billionaire?
And we were right. But then they took that beautiful, beautiful right away from you. With your help.
They took the beautiful, beautiful right away. What, the right to be heard? You have a freedom of speech. You don't have a freedom to someone's ears. Maybe that's part of this fucking confusion. He might run with RFK at this point.
Your love and your vote. We will make America great again, greater than ever before.
Okay, Lee Greenwood is asleep at this point.
Thank you very much, Alabama, and God bless you all. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, man. Thank you.
He's still doing Hold On, I'm Coming, even though he's already announced. Because he's out of tricks. And he's a big, big dum-dum. Just saying. Anyways, so that's that. We made it through. Hold on, we haven't gone all the way through it because we got to do this part. Thank you. Thanks very much. Clap, 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 clap. Hey, clap, 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 clap. Hey, there you are. I know you. Thumb up your butt. Yeah. Oh, there the squirt, double head job. Clap, clap. Bye, everybody. I'm allergic to this plant. See you later. Okay, I'm over it. I do the big dance just a couple times and fix my jacket, and then I'm getting the fuck out of here. And okay, thank you. Oh, good. Clap, 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 clap. Low. Oh, the lonely bye. See you later. Bye, everybody. See, they can't. Luckily, they play the music so nobody can hear. How was that? That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We made it through. That's our first rally in a little while, and fuck, so not worth it. Boy, what a waste of fucking time that was. Yeah, that dude is dead in the water. That's the end of that. You are watching the cascading fade of Donald John Trump. That man is not going to be president. Period. End of story. That's it. He's just going to bitch his way into a corner for another year. His lawsuits are going to come out, with him getting convicted. He's going to go through this point and a big, let's see, why do you think he won't win? For lots of reasons. One of the biggest ones is he's at 53% with his own party. And he thinks that's a huge win when he's already been president. Those are terrible numbers for somebody running for re-election when you previously supposedly held 98% of the vote or whatever. They're not showing up. He's also still talking his people out of voting. It's the same problem we had before. And the only thing that gave him the numbers that he got last time was mail-in voting, which, because everybody was trapped because of COVID, he benefited from it as well. It's not going to happen. He lost in 2020 horribly. He's not winning next time. He's making no friends. He's not expanding the electorate. And the biggest thing is, how many Republicans will he take down with him? I'm telling you. Now, Biden's going to need people to get out and vote, and they're going to have to be a big get out the vote campaign. But believe me, between like unions and your hardcore Democratic voters, of which I am absolutely one, he's got nothing to worry about. But if Trump's running again, it will drive up Biden's numbers. It is true that they prefer to run against him than anybody else because he will just make an asshole of himself. And even if he brings out maggots in a big number, it will drive away the rest of the Republicans who don't like him, and that will diminish the vote for House and Senate seats. Period. It's just going to work out that way. Yeah. Many of the people who voted for him died of COVID. Yeah, he doesn't care. Yeah, I pray he takes all the mags with him. Well, that's the thing, is that a bunch of them they're not gonna have enough people to make up the shortfall, period. And we'll be fine. We'll be with you. I'll write it out with you. Believe me, on election night 2024, I'll be with you all night long, just like I was in 2020. I promise. I'll stay up all night, and we will wake up that Wednesday morning happy and having a good time. And it will be a fucking trounce. And a big reason is because of Roe v. Wade and abortion, because it has lit a fire under young voters and made them realize that you don't fuck around with these be like half-assed high school, or middle school level protest votes. You get behind the people who are trying to help you the most, and you get some fucking points on the board. So, anyways, I adore you guys. Yeah, the win, Biden's going to beat him by way more next time. I agree. It'll be closer to 10 or even 12 million, because the drop-off is going to be fucking terrible for Trump if he doesn't drop out because he's a convicted felon. So, there will be no Trump foreskin bill. No. So, anyways, I adore you guys. I appreciate you. I've got to feed this cat or he's going to have a fucking panic attack. And I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. And it will be a long show tomorrow as well.